From the outside, it seemed like a golden friendship, a young superstar on the rise, and a music mogul with all the power in the world. Justin Bieber and Diddy Combs, two names that, for a moment in time, were linked in ways that fascinated the public and unsettled those who were watching closely. But as the years went by, the glitz faded, and Justin's once close connection with Diddy quietly dissolved. Fans were left wondering, why did Justin pull away? What was behind the distance? And what did Justin really see or experience that made him change his path? Today, we dive into the hidden side of that story. A story that blends fame, power, control, and secrets the music industry doesn't want exposed. Justin Bieber's career exploded almost overnight. Discovered on YouTube, mentored by Usher, and signed to a major label while still in his early teens, Justin was the definition of a child star. With fame came opportunities. And with opportunities came connections to some of the most powerful people in entertainment. That's where Diddy comes in. Diddy, already a household name, was a figure of power, success, and influence. He wasn't just a rapper or producer, he was an empire. His reach stretched from music to fashion, television, and beyond. And to a young star like Justin, being accepted into Diddy's world looked like the ultimate stamp of approval. Photos began circulating. Videos appeared online. Justin and Diddy were spotted together, laughing, hanging out, even going on shopping sprees. The media painted it as a mentorship, a bond between a young star and a seasoned industry titan. But beneath the glossy surface, fans noticed things that felt off. In one early clip, Diddy openly joked about having control over Justin for a set period of time. He spoke about owning the young singer's time and guiding his career. It was supposed to sound lighthearted, but the delivery made many viewers uncomfortable. Justin, then just a teenager, looked caught between laughter and unease. Was it just harmless banter? Or was there a darker truth hidden in plain sight? For years, this moment resurfaced online, sparking debates. Some brushed it off as playful. Others insisted it was a red flag, a glimpse into the way powerful figures sometimes treat young stars behind closed doors. And as Justin's fame skyrocketed, so did the questions. Being around Diddy meant being around excess. Lavish parties, endless bottles, expensive cars, mansions, and late-night gatherings with Hollywood's elite. For someone still in his teens, the environment was intoxicating and dangerous. Insiders whispered about the way Justin was introduced to a world far beyond his years. A world of temptations, blurred boundaries, and unchecked power. To the public, Justin was the squeaky clean teen idol singing about love and heartbreak. Behind the scenes, though, his association with older, more powerful figures raised serious concerns. Was he being protected? Or was he being exposed to things no teenager should have to navigate? As Justin grew older, his behavior began to shift. He went from the boy next door image to a rebellious young man caught in scandals, arrests, and controversies. Fans and media alike questioned whether fame had simply gotten to his head. But some wondered if there was more to the story. Had Justin seen things in those early years that left a lasting mark? Had his connection with Diddy and the environment surrounding it played a role in his struggles? What's clear is that at some point, Justin began to distance himself. The photos stopped, the appearances together faded, and the once public bond seemed to vanish without explanation. In scattered interviews, Justin dropped hints, subtle but telling. He spoke about feeling controlled during his early years, about being pushed into situations he wasn't ready for, about losing his sense of identity in an industry that treated him more like a product than a person. He never directly named names, but fans began connecting the dots. His words about manipulation, pressure, and regret lined up with the time he spent closely tied to Diddy. It wasn't just speculation. Industry insiders confirmed that Justin's early career was shaped not only by his official team, but also by the powerful figures who orbited his world. And Diddy, by all accounts, was one of the most influential. Behind the headlines and chart-topping hits, Justin was a teenager struggling to find himself. And being tied to someone like Diddy only made things more complicated. Whispers suggested that Justin was invited to parties where the atmosphere was far from innocent, that he was encouraged to embrace a lifestyle filled with excess and indulgence, that what looked like mentorship was in reality a form of control. Justin has since spoken about hitting rock bottom in his personal life, about moments of deep regret and decisions that left scars. And while he's never spelled out every detail, the pattern is hard to ignore. For many, it seems obvious that distancing himself from Diddy was more than just a career move. It was survival. When Justin quietly drifted away from Diddy, the industry didn't make much noise. But behind the scenes, people noticed. One source claimed that Justin's team deliberately steered him away from certain influences as he matured. Another suggested that Justin himself became more vocal about the people he no longer wanted in his inner circle. Fans, too, noticed the shift. Old clips resurfaced online, gaining new attention. People began questioning the nature of Justin and Diddy's relationship, reanalyzing every word, every expression, every interaction. The more people looked, the more unsettling it became. If Justin felt uncomfortable, why hasn't he directly spoken out? The answer might lie in the complexity of Hollywood's power dynamics. Diddy isn't just a celebrity. He's a businessman with connections that run deep. Calling him out openly would come with risks, reputation, relationships, even personal safety, according to some who have dared to challenge powerful figures in the industry. Instead, Justin chose another path. He distanced himself quietly, without fanfare, but with unmistakable intent. And in doing so, he sent a powerful message. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. Even today, the story of Justin Bieber and Diddy remains clouded in mystery. What exactly happened during those years? What did Justin see? What experiences pushed him to draw that line and step away? We may never know every detail, but one thing is clear. Justin's decision to distance himself wasn't random. It was deliberate. And it may have been one of the most important choices of his life. The young star who once stood beside Diddy is no longer there. The bond that once seemed unbreakable has vanished into silence. And in that silence lies a truth too heavy to ignore, that sometimes survival in the music industry isn't about the deals you sign or the records you sell. It's about the people you choose to leave behind. Because for Justin Bieber, stepping away from Diddy wasn't just a career shift. It was an escape. A decision that continues to echo today as more and more eyes turn to the shadows of Hollywood, wondering just how deep the secrets really go. For years, Justin Bieber's connection to Sean Diddy Combs has been the subject of curiosity, speculation, and unease. What began as a flashy friendship between a teenage superstar and a powerful mogul eventually dissolved into silence. The bond was gone, and the distance was impossible to ignore. But behind that distance lies a story far more complex. A story of control, regret, and the fight for freedom in an industry that thrives on keeping its stars in line. At first, Justin seemed to embrace the mentorship, the parties, the luxury, the exposure to Hollywood's elite. It was the kind of access most young artists could only dream of. But with every gathering came a cost. The longer Justin spent in those circles, the more he realized how much was being taken from him: his privacy, his innocence, and his sense of choice. Those close to Justin have suggested that he began to notice patterns. Promises that sounded like opportunities but came with hidden strings attached. Friendships that felt less like support and more like ownership. For Justin, the breaking point didn't arrive all at once. It was gradual, small realizations stacking on top of each other until he finally understood. Staying close to Diddy meant giving up pieces of himself he could never get back. As Justin's career soared, his personal life began spiraling. Public scandals, brushes with the law, reckless behavior. The headlines painted him as another child star gone wild. But Justin himself has admitted that during those years, he was battling demons no one saw. Depression, substance use, a desperate search for identity in a world that had already defined him before he even had a chance to grow up. And woven into that chaos were relationships with older, more powerful men who shaped the direction of his life. Relationships that, according to insiders, blurred the lines between mentorship and manipulation. Over time, Justin began opening up about the regret that haunted him. He spoke of being pushed into situations he wasn't prepared for, of agreeing to things out of pressure, not choice, of losing control of his own narrative while others pulled the strings. One haunting detail he's mentioned in interviews is the feeling of being paraded around, as though his worth came not from who he was, but from what others could extract from him. Fans and observers couldn't help but connect these statements to his time around Diddy. The timing lined up, the influence was clear, and the silence from Justin on that chapter of his life spoke volumes. Over the years, Justin's words have carried a sense of coded warning. In songs, interviews, and casual comments, he's alluded to being taken advantage of, to losing himself, to being surrounded by people who didn't truly care for him. One lyric about feeling trapped, another about regret, a comment about not wanting younger artists to go through what he endured. It was never specific, but for fans who have watched closely, the pieces fit together like a puzzle that points to the conclusion that Justin was trying to say something without saying it outright. As the years passed, Justin's life began to shift. He married. He embraced faith more deeply. He became vocal about mental health and the need to surround himself with genuine, supportive people. And in that transformation, one thing was clear. Diddy was nowhere to be found. The photos, the hangouts, the playful public appearances, they had all disappeared. Justin had drawn a line in the sand, and he wasn't stepping back over it. To those who had been watching from the beginning, the silence between them spoke louder than words. On social media, fans revisited old videos of Justin with Diddy. Clips of Diddy joking about owning Justin's time. Images of the two at parties that raised eyebrows. Moments where Justin's body language seemed more uncomfortable than carefree. Re-examined with the knowledge of what's come out about Diddy in recent years, those moments hit differently. What once seemed like harmless fun now looked like a warning sign that had been ignored. The discussions grew louder. Comment sections filled with theories. And the conclusion many reached was simple. Justin distanced himself because he had to. Because what he experienced was something he could no longer accept. Justin's story isn't just about one relationship. It's a reflection of a larger problem in the entertainment industry. Young stars are often thrust into environments where power is concentrated in the hands of a few, and those few decide who rises and who falls. Mentorship can quickly turn into control. Guidance can blur into exploitation. And for someone like Justin, the price of fame wasn't just measured in money or charts. It was measured in the pieces of himself he lost along the way. By pulling away, Justin wasn't just rejecting one man's influence. He was rejecting an entire system that had tried to own him. Justin's silence on Diddy is telling. He's spoken about many parts of his life, the struggles, the regrets, the mistakes. But when it comes to Diddy, there's nothing. No open condemnation, no detailed explanation, just distance. And in Hollywood, silence can mean survival. Speaking out against powerful figures can destroy careers. It can isolate artists, cut off opportunities, and make life far more dangerous. Justin's choice to simply walk away may have been his way of protecting himself, his family, and his future. Looking at where Justin is now, the difference is striking. He's older, wiser, and far more protective of his inner circle. He speaks openly about faith, accountability, and setting boundaries, and he seems determined to never let the industry swallow him whole again. Distancing himself from Diddy wasn't just about the past. It was about building a future on his own terms, a future where he could heal, grow, and define himself without the weight of manipulation hanging over him. Still, questions remain. What exactly did Justin witness during those years? What experiences left such a deep scar that he had to step away completely? And how much more will we learn as the truth about Diddy continues to unravel in the public eye? For now, Justin isn't talking, but the silence is deafening. And every time old footage resurfaces, the pieces of the puzzle grow clearer. Justin Bieber's decision to put distance between himself and Diddy wasn't random, and it wasn't small. It was a deliberate act, one that may have saved him from losing even more of himself. And while Justin has chosen silence, the world is watching, remembering, and connecting the dots he's left behind. Because in an industry where power often hides the darkest secrets, distance itself becomes a confession. And maybe, just maybe, the story isn't finished yet.